What's up, everyone? Zach here. Today, I want to go over the significance of the midnight opening price, and more specifically, the report that Edgeful just put out about the midnight opening retracement setup. This is a setup I've been trading pretty frequently for the past couple of months, and there's been pretty high win rate with it, and that's mainly because of the data backing the report here. Now, I'm going to go over the statistics on why it's significant and how it can help you determine a bias for the first few hours of the trading session. And then I'm going to go over some executions that I've taken just recently in the last couple of days and explain how I get in and out of the trades, but most importantly, how it helps me determine the correct bias for the first few hours of the New York session. So we're going to get into it right now. All right, now I do want to go over one more thing before we get into the data, and that is just to explain what is the Midnight Open. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, it is very simply the opening price of the 12 a.m. candle, and we are talking about New York Standard Time. So you would go down here to the 12 a.m. candle, and whatever this candle opens up at, that's our midnight price. Now, this is where Edgeful does come in handy because they do offer custom indicators that go hand in hand with the reports that they put out. So that is convenient if you're in a different time zone or you just don't feel like plotting this on your chart every day. So I have this up in the indicators tab. It's called ICT Opening Retracement. You would click that and it will plot Midnight Open for you automatically. Now, the idea behind the strategy is that we are looking for a retracement back down or up to the midnight open. Now, I'll get into why we look for that based off of the statistical data in just a moment, but I just want to play this price action out for you so that you can get a visual representation of the idea. So this is 9 a.m. last Thursday, and overnight we proceeded to trade away from midnight. Now, if I just play this out, 9:30 open comes, and we immediately sell down to fulfill the stat that we are going to engage with the midnight opening price in the New York session. So I'm going to get into the data now, and then I'm going to go over some chart executions on how I actually get in and out of these trades and just kind of the theory behind why it works. All right, so we have the Edgeful dashboard pulled up here, and we are looking at the futures market. Now, the report type we're going to be referencing today is the ICT opening retracement, and we're going to be looking at this data on the NASDAQ. That's what I primarily trade. Now, just to reiterate, what we are looking for is a retracement back to that midnight opening price in the New York session. So the data for this is really interesting. Just in the last 6 months, we have retraced to midnight opening price well over 70% of the time. And that's whether we're opening up above it or below it. It doesn't matter. We can rely on these statistics to give us a directional bias to trade in the direction of midnight opening price. Now, I just want to show that the data here is consistent because 6 months is not a huge sample size. But Edgeful has data all the way up to the last 5 years. So just to show it's consistent, we'll go to the 2-year. 67% of the time we have retraced to midnight price. So a little bit less, but still really significant. There's a lot of edge in anything that happens well above 50%. That's what you have to understand. And the power behind using this concept is that it is giving you a directional bias in the first couple hours of the New York session. That's really the power in utilizing this concept. Now again, 3-year, 67% of the time when opening above, 69% of the time when opening below, and all the way up to 5 years, 66 and 69 again. So this is really important to reference before we get into the charts because you need to know that these things are backed by data. That's how you can have the confidence you need to actually execute on your trading ideas. Now, I'm going to get into the charts and go over some executions that I took just last week. I'm not going to cherry pick ideas here. I don't have to, simply. I can go to the last week of price action and show you perfect examples of how we were able to execute on these concepts. All right, so now getting into the price action here. This is last Thursday. So this is the daily profile of last Thursday. If you see here, we have midnight opening price at 20,364. This yellow box is the Asia and London sessions. and I have marked out premium and discount here. Now, this is really important when utilizing midnight price. The rule of thumb that you want to go by is in the New York session, if we are trading above midnight open price, then we are in a premium of the daily profile. Same goes if we are trading below midnight, then we are in a discount of the daily profile. So a good rule of thumb, if we are trading above midnight, you should only be looking for shorts. If we are trading below midnight, you should only be looking for longs, at least in the first few hours of the session. Now, if we go over the price action here, Asia and London session proceeded to get bought up pretty aggressively. Virtually no significant pullbacks here, and I remember a lot of people were bullish at this time. 9:30 open is right around here, and a lot of people were probably looking for longs. Now, I was not bullish simply because I am using the good rule of thumb that I am in a premium if we're trading above midnight, and we have a 74% chance that we are going to retrace to this price level at some point in the trading session. Now, with that being said, I don't want to get long right at the top here because I don't want to fight this momentum without any clear confirmation that we might start breaking down. And that's why I wanted to go over this setup, because my entry is relatively pretty low compared to how far we dropped, right? But that's the power of the midnight opening retracement, is that you don't need to always get the perfect entry. You have a clear target. I think a lot of people get caught up trying to get the perfect entry signal, but they don't have a narrative as to why price is going to go where it's going to go. That's where using midnight really can come into handy here, because I have a clear target backed by data. Now, the reason I got short in here will become a little more apparent when I zoom into the 1 minute. But first off, I did need to have a confirmation that we were breaking down. And for me, that was a very simple break of structure right here. So this is the last higher low that made a higher high, right? So when I saw us get aggressively sold back down with displacement closing below this low, I knew I had my confirmation to begin looking for shorts to ride this price action down to fulfill the midnight stat. Now, if we go down to the 1 minute, now this is really why I wanted to go over this setup first, because the perfect entry is up here, obviously, right? In hindsight, but it doesn't matter to me because I have a target. I know where I think price is going to go. I have that narrative. So for me, it was as simple as looking for the first bearish PD array and seeing if it gets respected, which was this 1 minute fair value gap. As soon as I saw us tap into this gap and start rejecting, I took my first short entry. And it was a little choppy in the beginning, but I was able to just hold this through with confidence because we still had quite a bit of room left to midnight. So I was able to get good risk reward. I caught just under 3R on this trade with a 25-point stop and a 75-point take profit. Now, this ended up dropping much lower throughout the day, but that's fine with me, right? I had my stat that will at least get to midnight price. I was able to get good risk reward on my trade, and I'm just following the bearish momentum because I have the correct narrative on where price is probably more likely to go next. So that's the first setup. I really wanted to showcase this one because it doesn't show a picture perfect entry. Now, the next setup has a much better entry, but the price action was a little more difficult to navigate through it, and I'm going to go over that next. Right, so going into Friday's price action here, I was really confident about looking for shorts this day. And there's a few reasons for that. It wasn't just because we were trading above midnight, although that was one of the main confirmations. If we look left here, on Thursday, we had this huge displacement leg down, really kind of shifting the momentum here from being very bullish to being a little bit more bearish. Now, I'm not saying that there's going to be a full-blown reversal or anything because of this move down, but I do know that we could come in the next day and be aware of this, that we might want to see some continuation lower. I had a few levels on the higher time frame that I think we do want to draw into. But to just keep this more simple and looking at the internal structure of the day, we have these equal lows right here that I have marked out. So this was my overall draw on liquidity, even before utilizing midnight price. I mean, I wanted to see shorts based off this leg down and then also creating equal lows before having this small recovery. So this is our overnight session. If you see, a little different from Thursday, we didn't just go one direction up. We kind of chopped around, went both ways. And then coming into New York session, we had this manipulation leg up. And this is exactly what I want to see if I want to look for shorts, right? Because once again, when the New York session opens, I want to see us, if I want shorts, I want to see us trading above midnight so that we are in a premium of the daily range, right? If we're opening up below midnight, we're opening up in a discount, and I'm going to be a lot less comfortable looking for shorts. You know, I wanted to see this manipulation leg up in the pre-market session. Now, this entry is a lot better technically than the other entry from on Thursday. But I did take a few executions here, so I don't want to make it seem like I was going full port right at the top. But we did get this sweep of this high, and we failed to really get any strong displacement moves above it, showing that the buyers can regain control here. So I had a couple of contracts on as my starter position right here around 376. Now, at that point, I am on the 1 minute time frame, and I'm just watching the price action closely. I wanted to see some clear rejections of these prices. So once I saw this was our 8:30 a.m. news candle. I wanted to see this get taken and for us to continue down. I didn't want to see us sweep and then move back up. So once we got this low taken out, I was getting really comfortable about holding this trade, because again, you don't have to trade and take your full profits at midnight. That's not what I'm saying here. I had many reasons why I wanted to see shorts. So I'm holding for a bigger target, which was all the way down here. So I'm not going to take my profits at midnight. I was actually adding into this position in this consolidation here because I have higher time frame targets that I want to see taken. Now, it was a bit choppy, but I was never given a reason to exit my trade, right? If we go back to the 5 minute, as long as we were not creating bullish fair value gaps or showing any real regain of strength from the buyers, I wanted to remain in this short to ultimately target previous day's low down here, those equal lows. Now, I didn't wait for that full target because I had already been in this trade. I think I was in this trade for like 2.5 hours. Once we took out these equal lows, I wanted to get ready to start scaling out of my position. So I took some of my contracts off here at these equal lows, and then I just decided to front run this low. Even though I wanted to see it taken, I decided to just get full out right around here before we took these lows out, because even though we had the directional bias right, it was a pretty choppy day. But again, that's why this is so helpful, because I was able to get in at the very top of the day, just understanding the concept that I am in a premium if we are above midnight. So even in a choppy day like this, I was able to get a really good price and just kind of hold on to my position because I was able to position myself well above in that premium, right? And that's the second trade. So those are 2 trades that I took, and this was just last week, Thursday and Friday. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up. I highly recommend checking out Edgeful and going a little bit deeper into the report, because there are a lot of other gems that I'm not talking about here in this video. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and have a good day.